Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Guys Night. I'm your host, Travis, with Mr.
BY, what's up, guys?
Sup. All right, tonight we will be talking about tabletops. If you don't know what tabletops is, that is without technology. This is the old school, back in the day. This is as retro as it gets with gaming. This is Monopoly, Risk. This is Warhammer 40K. This is Dungeons and Dragons. This is I can't forget about Dungeons and Dragons. I used to be a really big D&D player, like when I was growing up as a kid, because certain people I knew used to do it, and until they got into LARPing, and then it just evolved from there. They went on a whole different road. I went on a whole different road. But hey, we're here to bring you everything gaming, so everything has to be everything. And this is our tabletop night, and our guest is having a little difficulty right now with the Hangouts, but believe me, we all are right now. It's crazy with the Hangouts tonight, but we're glad to bring you this show because we love you and want to keep y'all entertained.
Yeah, I guess would you like to introduce, well, I guess we should wait for him to reboot before we introduce him, but our guest tonight, man, he's pretty much, he knows the deal when it comes to tabletop stuff, and and me, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like, I know a lot of the mainstream ones, but I'm sure we're gonna be touching on a lot of others tonight as well, so yeah, it's kind of gonna be a learning experience for me. But yeah, I'm excited for it, man. It's one of those things, and we were talking about it before the show, and I have nothing against tabletop gaming whatsoever. The only thing about it for me is the reason I play on like computer and console is because I need that crutch, man. I can't keep up with all that stuff in my head. I need a computer. I need a CPU to keep up with it for me. But I'm impressed by folks that can do it hardcore, man. And yeah, I'm interested to learn more about it.
I mean, it's hard. I mean, when it comes down to like, I don't know. I guess the most money that you probably spend is probably in Warhammer, most definitely, because Warhammer they give you pieces, they give you a map that you have to build. It's like when we had a Warhammer store, like in my mall, I used to go there all the time. It was great because they had all different types of tabletops, but what they had the most that really impressed me was their outlandish 4v4 Warhammer map that they had. It was like right there in the center of the store. They built these pieces, they painted them, hand painted these things. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
That's
crazy, man.
Y'all are really going ham with this right now.
No doubt. Like I say, I ain't mad at him, man. I would like to think I would be able to learn it, but like I say, I haven't never really tried, man.
Right.
Is that our
Hello, guys. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
No worries.
Oh,
man.
he's here.
Things
He's here and he's live.
What's going on, man? We're already on air, if you didn't know or not. So, yeah, you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Carl Harrison. I have been gaming tabletop since, 1996? It is a huge passion of mine, and I'm glad that I'm able to come on the show and talk about it.
Definitely, man.
Man, we're glad to have you, man. Definitely.
Travis, lead us off, man. Go ahead. I know you got some questions.
I mean, honestly, like, dude, where did you start? Where did tabletop begin for you? Because me, I mean, the oldest tabletop game that I know is probably chess. So, where did it begin for you?
Well, I mean, when it comes down to like board games and stuff, that's I mean, where it begins is probably Monopoly and Chinese checkers and Chutes and Ladders and all of those guys. But where tabletop role playing started for me was Cyberpunk in the Army, and like I said, that was 1996.
Nice. Yeah, I guess pretty much the same way, man. Like I say, I don't really have an in-depth knowledge of tabletop stuff, but mine would have definitely started the same way, man. Just really basic ones like Monopoly and chess, and I was joking about it before, but honestly, when I was a kid, I guess like Mousetrap, man.
Oh my God, Mousetrap, the game that never worked. That game never worked.
It never worked. Then you were doing something wrong, man. You were doing.
No, I mean the little thing. It always got stuck on that fourth little bracket as it's coming down. It never like actually trapped the mouse.
Oh man, you need to do some engineering to your board then.
I mean, I don't have Mousetrap anymore. But as it goes for role playing, I got into Warhammer, and I told Carl this. I got into Warhammer because we had a Warhammer store, and in the Warhammer store they sold models and everything else like that, but they had Warhammer, and it was elaborate. And when I saw these guys playing, I was like, man, this is awesome.
Yep.
Like, people up here painting their characters. Like, I was like, wow, this is taking detail to a whole different level with a paintbrush and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. But Warhammer is probably the most I probably put into a tabletop game. It's definitely one of the most expensive ones out there. As far as I know, I got out of Warhammer in like 2000, early 2002, 2001.
Any particular reason for getting out of it? Did you just lose interest, or didn't have the time to do it properly, or?
The store had closed, and the people that had originally started, they moved away, out of state. So trying to carry my pieces by myself, I had them in a bag, and I had them all nice little separated little category and things like that. But to carry the actual board and the area that we would play on, it was just too much.
Yeah, I imagine, dude. Basically, just not having nowhere to go, I suppose.
Right. Yeah.
Carl, let me ask you, man. For as of today, as it stands right now, what tabletop games is it that you play the most, that you enjoy the most? I mean, what's doing it for you right now?
Wow, that's a good question. When it comes to running a game, it would have to be Star Wars. I don't think I've ever played as a player. Let me kind of break it down for a lot of the listeners that may not know. Basically, somebody comes up with a story. That's your storyteller. Or I'm sure people have heard Dungeon Master or Game Master, or, basically it's just, break it down, it's a storyteller. He's going to be, or she is going to be the one that sets the story up, sets all the opposition, which means she plays the bad guys that they're trying to kill you. Star Wars for me is, man, it was the first movie I saw when I was 2 years old. I've been hooked ever since.
I think a lot of us got hooked like that.
Yeah. So, Star Wars is definitely a passion for me. I wish I could play, but everybody's like, "Hey, you're the most passionate. You run it. You come up with the story." Okay. So usually about 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 18, 20 people, whoever wants to join, and that's also the storyteller's discretion. These people create the players within, or the characters within that story. So, me as a storyteller, what I like to do is I like to have a solid beginning, and a place where I like to end.
Right.
And then I just kind of, forget about the middle. Because my characters, my players, are going to shape that story. And, I may want them to go down road A, B, C, or D, and they may go down double Z,
Right.
which has happened, and has made me go, but I didn't prepare for that. So you've got to, as a storyteller, you've got to be prepared for anything.
Well, that's good. It sounds like it doesn't, like, it isn't too linear. That there are, I mean, if you, I'm guessing, and I could be wrong here, but I guess if you detailed everything out, then it really wouldn't leave no element of surprise or anything in there, because, you know, I mean, would that be an honest assessment, or
Sometimes.
what? Okay.
Sometimes, yes. I mean, it's good to have your details down, especially. All right, the party goes, you know, walking down a corridor. You can see, you know, 3 torches going, and you know it's fairly lit, and but you see a dark shadow figure, you know, towards the back of the corridor. What do you guys do? And that's the thing. You know, some people might want to say, I'm going to try to talk to it to see maybe if this thing is friendly. You know, some people might say, I'm going to draw my sword, or depending on the game, my blaster, my gun, my turn into a werewolf. There's so many games out there.
It sounds a lot like the same format or whatnot that like Zork. I don't know if you ever played that or not. But it was an old computer game. Shoot, the back during like the freaking Apple II and stuff like that. But yeah, it was. It reminds me. That reminds me a lot of text-based gaming. Is what I guess I'm trying to say.
And text-based gaming is tabletop role-playing in its rawest computer form.
Right.
Yeah. Now there are.
But if I had the choice, I mean, I'd much rather play with actual people than a text-based game. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Definitely more social.
And now for online players, one of my Army buddies is where you guys are at in North Carolina.
Right.
With the use of Skype, RollD20.net, Mythweavers is a great website to have your character sheet, and you can do it on the computer. That is a wonderful way to get out of everybody coming to your house and ordering pizza, and somebody stiffing you for their share of the pizza bill.
Right.
and then you find out the next day later somebody drank your sorry guys, I'm out in the backyard, so somebody's
yeah, it's fine.
But you know, it's not the same. I prefer the social setting of me and a few of my friends just sitting around a table.
Oh, definitely,
yeah.
Definitely.
And just, you know, for the first 20 minutes is usually, okay, haven't seen you guys in a week. What happened? What's going on? and okay, what, you know, it's time to start the game, and still people are BSing, and it's, you know, one of my storytellers, his name is Ron Sago. If he's listening, shout out, man. And our buddy Joe, who always had a catchphrase, "We're all gonna die." So, beginning of every
Sounds
game.
like my little brother. Sounds like my little brother.
And the buddy that I was talking about in North Carolina, his name is Will Freeman. He's a long old time friend, and built off of role playing. And no, it's very. Remember when you played Guns or Cops and
Robbers in the backyard?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Remember the time of I shot you? No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
That's role playing. But
Yeah.
in this form, there's rules behind it. You know, there's dice to roll. There's, you know, if the dice say 1, you didn't hit it.
Right.
But I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to be all combat. It could be social. It can or social combat. It could, you know, it could be very well just I'm going to go talk to this adversary or possible adversary that, hey, you know, maybe we can avoid not, you know, because I've only got like 10 hit points left, and I really can't afford to get into a fight. Let me see if I can talk my way out of it. And so, I mean, there's just, it's such a broad stroke when you're painting with it. It's just a fun, very inexpensive way to.
It's a hobby. It's a hobby.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I don't want to stereotype it as being a geeky hobby or anything like that, because that could get me started on a rant. A hobby is a hobby. I guess I'll just touch on it right quick. A lot of folks, and especially at work, you know, I'm a big time gamer, and a lot of times they'll try and throw a jab here or there, like, oh, what'd you do last night, Brian? You stay there and play your video games or whatnot? And I'll just usually throw something back in their face like, yeah, man, I wish I could have done something cool like you, like sit on the TV and watch American Idol. But, you know, what's the difference? How I spend my time is how I spend my time. And
Right.
That's the thing. I hate for people to say, like, it's a geeky hobby or this and that, because I'll compare it to this. And anybody out there thinking that tabletop gaming is geeky, if you are in a fantasy football league, you are the pot calling the kettle black, because you are doing the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
You really are.
You're putting together fake teams that don't exist in
With
order to
real
live
players,
out,
though.
Yeah, with real players, but
but
still, it's a
fake
fantasy team, and it has no bearing on actual life whatsoever. So if you want to call somebody out for being a video or tabletop gamer as being geeky, and you're part of a fantasy football league, don't even come at me with that. Please don't.
It's not just football and baseball. They have hockey,
that's right.
They have basketball.
Right.
Yep, exactly.
And
Basketball.
Yep, exactly.
I'm not gonna. And just because certain sites allow you to win a little bit of money, you can put some money on a tabletop game too. It's just
that's right.
We're friends.
That's right.
But I have, I've been in certain situations where I've taken a D&D and I've turned it into a personal vendetta with somebody that, decided to, stiff me on that $20 pizza that I bought, and they're like, hey, I don't want to eat anything, and they wind up taking like 4 slices out of the pizza.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not hungry.
They only give you 8, and there's 6 people here, and you took 4. So everybody else only got a slice. Like, somebody gotta go get a knife and cut it in half. Yeah, I've thrown some shots into a D&D game like that.
We're getting off on a tangent now. Steer us back on the right track, somebody.
I mean,
all right. But see, and this is, you know what? This is a prime example of a tabletop.
Yeah,
I mean, of the game. This is the side tangents and getting derailed.
That's exactly right.
in every table or in every game. Somebody's gonna say, "Hey, wait, pizza count. Who's had 2?"
Right.
I mean, but that's
you look down at the box and you just, hey, wait a minute, something's missing here.
Yeah.
I saw that one pizza that had my eye on since I started this like 2 hours ago. Like I was there. Who ate it? I know
who
somebody
left the sliver.
Who ate that? Oh my gosh, I hated that. But I hated that. But when it comes down to it, all right. So you have the Star Wars. What would somebody wanted to like freshly get into tabletops? What would be the best tabletop to get into?
Absolutely, I would like to know that as well.
Probably the best one to get into is whatever genre you like. That's kind of a personal question for the gamer. For the people who like the medieval fantasy, D&D, Pathfinder, which is basically the best version of D&D in my opinion, D&D 3.0, their third version of it. This is when TSR got bought out by Wizards of the Coast, and they turned it into a D20 system, which it was always kind of a D20 base, but 20-sided die.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I was honestly about to ask that, so.
Yeah, I figured.
Because when you say D20, I'm thinking about the group that Eminem used to rap with, man.
That was D12. D12.
Yeah, it is D12.
There's one of those too.
Blue and yellow, purple pills.
That's all.
So, for the people who love, say, Firefly, there's a Firefly role-playing game. There's, if people like the futuristic, not too far into the distant future, I would say probably the second version of Cyberpunk is awesome. If they like a little bit of fantasy mixed into that, that's, wow, why am I blanking here? It's a game that I really don't like because I died in 5 minutes. Ron, thank you. Anyways, I'll get. It'll come to me. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's Vampire the Masquerade. Basic vampires are real, and they live in nowadays society. But as you and I believe they don't exist, that's what they want you to believe. That's what's called the Masquerade. Mm-hmm. There's Werewolf, the Apocalypse. Basically, kind of same setting, same world. Even the vampires still exist in this setting, which I think that had a really cool backstory. The backstory of Werewolf was, back in ancient times, there was a trinity of nature: the wild, the weaver, and the worm. Mm-hmm. The wild is nature itself. It's plants and animals and everything that grows. The weavers is humans that tear down the wild or thin out the wild to build and create with it. The worm is decay and death. Well, as society grew and the weaver went wild, I mean, they tore down too much of the wild, and well, it was killing Gaia. So Gaia had asked any of her creatures out there to take, to help thin out Weaver, and the only animal that came to her aid was Fenris the wolf. And that's where we get, and they can, and she endowed Fenris with the ability to look like a human, and there we've got werewolves. That is from White Wolf Games. I'll tell you what, it's a great system. They really do monster well. I mean, they've got books for Promethean, which is Frankenstein. They've got the werewolf, the vampire. They've got mage. They've got hunter. Basically, hunter is us trying to kill the things that are, werewolves and vampires and everything else. We're trying to protect ourselves too here, sure. And all of it combined, it is the world of darkness, and I mean it's very interwoven and everything. But they have one game that isn't interwoven with. Within the White Wolf company or the books that White Wolf has come out with, and it's probably far my favorite. And there's actually a couple others they have that kind of go on this tangent. It's called Exalted. Exalted has a really huge backstory, which I really don't want to get into it. But basically, there are many gods. The unconquered sun and the gods in their form of heaven play this MMORG called the Games of Nobility, and he's unconquered, so he's really into it, and he never loses. So people on creation start running wild because there's no divine intervention, and he just says, you know what? Let me take a look down there. Oh wow, look at that guy. He's pretty awesome, and he zaps him with some of his strength, and basically you turn into the most powerful thing in the game, but it's not the power that kills you. It's pretty much everything else.
Right.
But this is a game that it's not okay, I run up and hit and let me roll my die.
Right.
Oh, I missed. Which is kind of very D&D-ish. No, this is you get bonuses for stunting. So I think one of my favorite stunts was I was playing an archer. We were out in a swamp. And we got attacked by zombies, and I jumped up on a limb, shot a couple zombies, wrapped my leg around the one of the vines, bungeed down with an arrow, and plugged another one, and then bungeed back up. With that, I had to drop my bow, so now the bow is down on the ground. Depending on how well I decided to stunt, or the storyteller says, "Wow, that's pretty amazing. I'm going to give you a couple extra dice to roll that." So
everything is at the storyteller's discretion then. So
absolutely.
I mean, depending on however. So yeah, I guess like you were saying, man, not to interrupt your train of thought, but what would you rather do, man? Would you rather be a player or a storyteller?
I really like playing. I'm not gonna lie. I really like playing. I like just checking in and saying, "Hey, I'm here." Right. And what are we doing? Okay, and get into character and just have fun with it. On other hands, I do like I like both. I like being able to tell a story. I like having my players be part of that story. I love it when the whole party's asleep and the guy who's on watch just roll a d20. What am I rolling? Just roll, and depending on what the score is, I pass them a note and say, "Oh, by the way," and just make it look. After writing this note, I make this whatever it could be, make it look so scary, and then hand them. Watch when they read, and they're like, "Oh my God, what the hell?" I love that. Because it's so funny. It's so fun, and it's like, okay, I investigate. Are you gonna wake your party up? No, I'm just gonna investigate. Okay, and it's great. It's great to interact. It's great to just it's just a fun night. It really is.
How about as far as other types of gaming? Have you ever ventured into any of the online gaming or video gaming or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I mean I've got a PS4, waiting for my.
I'll forgive you for that.
I actually got. I've been an Xboxer. I've been an Xboxer since original. I got the PS4 because it was cheaper.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
At the time.
To be honest, man, PS4 is the better system. I can admit that to anybody. But like I say, I bought the Xbone, so I have to live with it.
I actually wish I did have the X1. So
really,
I have no regrets.
There's some games on X1 that I can't get on PS. Preferably the Star Wars games. Yeah, but preferably the Star Wars games that usually lean more Microsoft than Sony.
Right.
I mean, the new Battlefields.
The new Battle.
Yeah.
Well,
Battlefield is going to be on both platforms, but
yeah.
But they're going to hang out with Microsoft because all their games came out on Microsoft PC long ago. Talking right. X-Wing versus TIE, all of those, which I would still get on and play X-Wing or TIE Fighter or X versus TIE. Love it. Tell you what, I'm starting to get back into retro. I'm really missing my NES. I'm really missing the feel of the corded, 3x5" just a directional pad and an AD button. Man, I'm missing those.
Right.
And I would totally tear up some Super Mario Brothers right now.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, man, heck yeah. No, I'm of the impression, man. All because like the Star Wars games, they might be more partial, or it might have seemed like they were more partial to Microsoft. End of the day, these are companies. They're not partial to anybody. They're partial to whoever has the largest player count, whoever's going to buy the most games, and whoever is going to fork over the most money to get that game exclusive to their console.
Well,
that's what happened to Titanfall. Titanfall would have been a much larger game, and it would have been a lot more popular had Respawn have not sold out to Microsoft and released it on both consoles.
Well, that's why it's going to be Titanfall 2 gets released on both consoles.
Oh, I guarantee they learned their lesson.
Coming out next year.
Like they made that deal before Xbox One, and even before that disastrous E3 presentation. Respawn made that deal with Microsoft, and they put all their chips down, thinking that the X1 was going to be the dominant console again, and nope. Sorry about your luck.
Well, I don't exactly, because Titanfall technically wasn't supposed to come out for the new gen system. Titanfall was supposed to come out for the 360, and that was about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was supposed to be the first. Like, I know, as I've said, I've talked about it before, and it was like the first and the last for new gen and the old gen for 360 and Xbox, and for the X1 and the 360, as well as the PS3 and the PS4. Last of Us was supposed to be the PS3's last game that it was supposed to have. That turned out to be, a lie. Titanfall was supposed to be the last game that the 360 was supposed to have, and that was a lie. Like, all of these games started coming out. It was like, hey, wait, let's hold off on this, and let's see if we can jump onto that new gen, console. And with Titanfall, they was like, well, it's not gonna take as much as it would take to go from Xbox to Xbox One, as long as decode with the PS4. Now they're sitting there like, well, now, hey, we messed up. So, and it's not even like they messed up. Sony did their bidding. It was like, hey, we want you guys to be on our console now too. And because before, Titanfall 2 was supposed to come out for the Xbox One, it's supposed to be exclusive again. Sony got a new director. I've said this before. I've said this plenty of times. Sony is throwing money at these developers now.
Oh, yeah.
They're not doing what they used to do. They're not sitting back like, hey, we're going to hold on to our little ball, and, hey, if we don't like it, we're going to go home. They're not doing that anymore. They're like, hey, I got the ball. I'm about to run with it, and I'm about to go. That's what they're doing now. They're like, hey, here's $1 million to this developer, here's $1 million to that developer, here's $150,000 to this developer here. We want your exclusive content. We want your exclusive title. If you want to give us the title, go ahead. Let's have it. But Microsoft is sitting here like, well, that's not going to work because we have, Windows 10 coming out. We have to do all this cross-platforming. We have too much in-house money to spread around with in-house. You can't sit like Halo. They have 2 commercials for Halo.
Yes, they do.
One of those commercials. You could have took one of those commercials and got an exclusive title for any type of other game that was coming out this year. But did you? No, you didn't do it. So, all right, I'm gonna chill out with that. But if you want to have that experience of creating your own story and having your friends play your story with you and really getting into character and developing your character with your friends, tabletop is the way to go. It is.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I've known that since I was playing D&D with my friends, because D&D was cool. Like, we played D&D, got pizza, had sodas and everything else like that. Our D&D matches ran for like 6 hours at a time because I do one story for 3 hours and then we switch out in another 3 hours. We did 2 games basically. But what's the longest story that you've done? Like, what's the longest tabletop you've done?
In one night, probably.
Yeah.
One session has lasted. I mean, and it seemed like it was like 2 hours. It was like 8, 9, 10.
Wow. I can see it. I can see it happening.
And when I do Star Wars, I'm the Star Wars nerd, man. I do my story in 3 parts. I do an episode 1, 2, and 3.
No prequels for you.
Well, no, and to be fair, I think the most successful that I've had with it is get out of the canon, because somebody, if somebody just happens to, shoot Luke before he met old Ben, then what happens to the actual story? It just pollutes it. So,
Right.
Old Republic is where I love to storytell from. In fact, my last 3-part was right after Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Yeah.
So
I like that game. Really
wonderful game. I love the story. I actually threw the Exile in there. Yeah, I'm stepping into canon, but I'm also stepping into canon that, on the whole, nobody cares about. Not everybody has played these games, especially the groups that I was running in. So they didn't know. I did.
Yeah.
It was a personal. We found the Exile, and it turned out to be, the first episode was just a quick breakdown, was after the fall of the Sith Empire finally getting washed away with that second video game. The exchange grew. The Zerka Corporation has been disbanded, and that's why the exchange has just blossomed huge. And they're making a problem for the Republic restoring all of these war-torn planets, and they sent the party in to disrupt this and disrupt it. So we did. The second one was, well, all but one of the party members got kidnapped. at the end of the first one. It's like, okay, month leave. In fact, we've checked you on this pleasure cruise, and you can you can stop wherever you want to stop or stay on the ship, but come back in a month. And a month later, nobody came back except for one, who didn't, go on this cruise. Well, on this pleasure cruise, this pirates had kidnapped everybody on the ship, and now the ship was a derelict. So, and nobody knew. And so I had everybody create new characters and say, okay, you're going to go find your characters. It got to the point of where it ended was it was in the unknown regions of space. That's where the Mandalorians started to hang out, but like Canderous Ordo or Mandalore in the second one, he started to rebuild his the Mandalorian Empire, but he's like, I've been hanging out with the Jedi and the good folk of the Republic a little bit too long, so I'm going to try to make this more of a democracy type of thing. And but I have information where your people could be with, and you might not like it. Well, that was the end of the two. The third was I kind of messed up. I know where your people are, and they're with the other Mandalorians that don't have are my view of thinking. They want it to be what it's always been, and well, so much for change. We're kind of in a Mandalorian civil war, and that was epic. And it ended up turning out to be the bad Mandalorian was a Sith.
Yeah.
I created my favorite creation in Star Wars. I've got to say this. Dude made power gloves with 3 lightsabers on each hand.
Oh man.
Wolverine claws, man. Wolverine claws.
He got saber claws. He's got saber claws.
Hell yeah. It was so awesome. It was so awesome. The third story ended. I mean, it was just like, dude. I mean, when you actually carry on 1, 2, 3 campaigns with basically the same characters, and you complete, and pretty much everybody's still alive. Man, there's not there is a. It's just a cool feeling of wow, how epic was this?
Right.
And wow, what a great story. I wish I could, in fact, I've even tempted to, rehash the story one more time and with different players and different characters and it's, I just don't have the players at the moment.
You all right. How do you keep track of your story when you're the game master? How do you keep track? Do you have a pen and pad, or how do you keep track?
Me personally, what I do is I write out pretty much everything that I know what I'm going to try to accomplish this game. I've got all my opposition. I've got all their stats. I don't have to just grab the book and flip it. I've got it right in front of me. I do all that. And I literally just keep it flowing. And pretty much once I'm done with what I've prepared for, and it seems like there needs to be a little bit more, I'll just kind of wing it. But pretty much right after I've wung it, I go and I just kind of write up, this is what we had last time. just so as a personal reminder of where I need to kick it back up. And then, throughout the week, I'll in my spare time, we'll just, get that next game's adventure rolling and kick it out, the next week and keep doing it that way.
All right. Because as we used to play, my friends, we used to play D&D, and D&D turned into LARPing. And
wow, you threw out LARPing.
Yeah, I mean, because that's where it led to, and I wasn't a big fan of LARPing. I'm not gonna lie. I've LARPed.
Yeah.
Am I a big fan of LARPing? Not really. It depends. I've grown out of a lot of things. It's like me. I would rather run and gun and shoot somebody. I play airsoft. I like airsoft. I like paintball. Whereas sitting in a park with a cloak and a cape nowadays gets kind of frowned upon, especially when you're in a small rural town and you go out there with a sword. Everybody's looking at you like, oh, why do you have a sword?
I know I said I don't knock nobody's hobby. I won't knock yours. I'm not knocking nobody's hobby, but I'm just saying if I passed the park one day and seen some guys out there LARPing, I would probably slow down and stare for a little bit. Just saying.
Everybody stares. Everybody stared. Let's not get it twisted. Everybody stared. But when the cops got called and everybody's looking at me like, so what are y'all doing out here? Like, I've had situations where it was.
My question is, when the cop asks you that, do you break character? Like, do you break character and say, oh, we're just LARPing, we're a group of guys, we like the live action role play? Or do you totally stay in character when the cop's like, what are you guys doing out here? You're like, we're trying to defeat the evil dragon Lamentosaur. He has been playing for years.
Oh my gosh.
It's like that's the greatest thing ever to talk about.
I might have to use that one.
Lamentosaur. No, I like that. I just come up with that off the spot too, man.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you the situation that happened.
Good.
It was great. It's happened twice. Because my friends, they was like, hey, we're gonna go LARPing. I was like, this is the first time I went LARPing. Small little park. It's right next to a it's like a soccer field, okay? It's a soccer field, but next to the soccer field is a toddler, pre-K, first grade type of park.
Right.
So this happens to be in, I want to say, mid-July. So it's families at this park. We are about, I want to say, 16, 17-year-old going out to the soccer field with capes, fake swords, Nerf swords. What else do we have? We had one person came with their fairy wings on.
I call that the Renaissance Festival.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, that's basically what you would call it. It looked like the Renaissance Festival, but we have our one knight. We had our archer. We have our paladin. We had our wizard. We had a troll too, but it wasn't a troll because it's like a lizard. So he has a tail. He has like a lizard tail, but he's very small. He's a small guy. So he's like lizard troll. But so the cops come. Family got freaked out, bugged out because how this whole thing started, and so one of the parents from the park calls the cops. I, being the, I don't want to say, it's like because of the color that I am. I want to say it's because of the build that I am when I was that age, because I was a big dude. I immediately broke character, and I immediately threw down everything. And I was like, hey, it's a game. We're playing here. Everything's fine. There's no need to worry about it. We're fine. He's like, all right, well, look, man, you guys are like grown people. You need to take this. I was like, all right, sir, all right. Second situation. I'm at like freaking MegaCon for LARPing. Like, I'm talking like 50 people deep. Tell me why I didn't have any type of, I have to be worried for anything. When the cops showed up in riot gear, full riot gear.
Riot gear?
Showed up with attack dogs, got out the car, got out the truck, and our king, my man Julian, goes, he went so hard. He went so hard. Does not know who you are messing with. Does not know that I am the king of the nether realm. Does not know. I was like, dude, they're going to tear gas the mess out of us.
Does thou not know I have a taser?
Wow.
The cop was stunned. Like, he's like six. There's 6 cops there. There's 6 cops. Like, they were stunned. They didn't know what to do. It was like,
I guarantee you it was a topic of discussion when they got back to the station.
Oh, it was, because his girlfriend was his girlfriend's mom was there, and she had the papers and the permits that allowed us to be there on the premises during this time where the cops got called and was like, we're not supposed to be here. But Julian, he just went so hard, and I to this day I feel like giving up to him, because I'm sitting here like, we are so going to jail. We are so going to jail.
Y'all won't do anything wrong. It's public place, man.
We wasn't doing anything wrong. Sort of. Sort of public place.
Yeah, I used to LARP Vampire, and man, it just got so convoluted and infighting and this, that, and the other. I was like, it's not for me. And it's been brought up at live action role playing LARP.
Wow.
But there's groups that do sword and board and in full armor, SCA, for example.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, if that's, I guess, counted as LARPing, I guess that could be what it is. But that's also very cool.
I don't consider SEA as LARPing, because I don't know. I don't. Guys, most of the people that I know that LARP can't wear full body metal armor.
This is true.
And then run at that. Like,
God rest him, my one of my best friends, Sean. He was an avid role player. He was an avid SCA'er. He invited me to war one year, and I go out there and watch him. You know, everybody run out in the midfield of battle, and here he is with a mace, and he was a big guy, and he just kind of, you know, with his mace on his shoulder, he just trudged down the field. I ain't running, and by the time he gets there, the battle's over, and he just kind of shrugs his shoulders in full plate, and he just trudged back. But I mean, that was a fun experience in itself too. Okay, for all who has played, I've got a question for you guys. What was your favorite character that you've ever played?
Character I've ever played as far as
role playing
tabletop?
Yeah.
Okay, now this is gonna sound, we've talked about this before. Now, we really didn't do a game, but back in high school, man, we were big time Star Wars geeks. I graduated in 2000, so my junior year is the year that the prequels came out, And, of course, we were all geeked out in 1999 for the prequel. That was before we ever knew of the abomination known as Jar Jar Binks. But anyway, we were all assigned characters, and we used to all do our own little thing. And we had a GeoCities page at the time. Like a lot of folks won't know.
GeoCities.
Yes, sir. We had a GeoCities page, an Angel Fire page, one of the two. I forget. But yeah, we all had different roles, and it was all from the original trilogy. Just everybody had a different role, and I was so glad about the role that I kind of fell into and was kind of assigned to me. I was the role of Obi-Wan. And I loved being Obi-Wan. But as far as role-playing goes, that would be like that'd be the most of my experience on that. But I remember it being a blast, man. I had fun. We would just have these geeked out conversations, dude, as if we were, the characters. And it was amazing. But yes, favorite character I've ever played, and one of the only, is Obi-Wan. Had a blast. What about you, Travis?
Oh, man.
I wish, I know nothing, I don't mean to interrupt your train of thought, but you can think about it while I say this. I wish I could find out a way to find those old GeoCities pages and whatnot, because it was just basic, some basic HTML coding that we knew how to do. But, we all had our own separate page. I would love to just reminisce and find that and be able to click on it and see my high school picture, one that somebody took of me. And I don't even think nobody had a digital camera back then. It's something that we scanned. But, like, it showed the Obi-Wan character. And then it showed, me beside him, and then we had our own little bios under there and whatnot. God, I wish there was a way to go back and find that stuff. I'm sure there is, but I don't know how. But anyway, that's just my own little side thought. Go, Travis. What was your character?
Jeez, man. It has to depend on what scenario I was thrown into, because if it was the Middle Ages, I guess I was a wizard. I was always into that whole magic thing, so it's three magic, lightning bolt. Yeah. Once again, like I said, that LARPing thing was not cool. He's going around saying lightning bolt, fireball.
Right.
I cast Mystic Wand of the Dust upon you, and you throw out like carpet lint. I get now why that looks a little, odd at a park in front of kids. I get that. I get that now. But my favorite character that me and my friends, we try to do this. We try to make our own tabletop. That's what we always try to do. We always try to bring something new to the table, especially when it came down to 12-sided dice and 17-sided dice, because that's what we usually played with. Was the 17. Mine was my Cyber Ninja. I love my Cyber Ninja. That was, oh my gosh. When I was Cyber Ninja, I can get away with like going through a whole dungeon. Well, not a dungeon. We called it a complex, and what we used to do this with. Cyber Ninja, I had two abilities. One is hacking, and hacking took upon itself as in I could take out systems of robots and everything else like that. That was basically anything connected to a computer. And then my other ability was able to surf the web. Surf the web meant I literally got to travel through the internet and the webosphere of like Freakazoid.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. I'm back.
Hey, he's back. There you are.
All of a sudden, it just froze.
Go ahead.
And but that I'll catch everything in archive. I don't want you to repeat.
I was basically saying, because we were talking about what our favorite characters were in our tabletops, and
Right.
with middle age, Dungeons and Dragons type thing, I was a wizard. I was a wizard. Um, I was always attracted to that whole type of thing. I guess I don't know, being sorcerer of all things, and then I always wanted to be a necromancer because I'm a necromancer in WoW.
Okay.
So yeah, but and the tabletop me and my friends made, I was a cyber ninja, and my cyber ninja could get away with freaking murder. Like I can go into a whole complex and just murder everybody, and I was good.
OP much?
Oh, very OP, very OP. Because if there was a camera, like say, like you go to the complex, and in the complex you have four levels that you have to basically you have to get to before you get to the main boss.
Mm-hmm.
And the first level is being watched by cameras. So my character has the ability to hack into those cameras and just rewrite the entire code. So now those cameras are not working for me. So I can see what's going on throughout the rest of the levels. As my whole team is like moving in and just like taking out stuff, yeah. That's what I used to do. And then if there was a computer, I could jettison my way through the electricity or through the internet or whatever the heck you want to call it, like Freakazoid style.
Yeah.
And basically just shoot past the first two levels and get to the third level while everybody else is trying to like work their way up. And then he has a nice sword. We drew stuff, man. Like we drew characters out. We wrote backstories for our characters. We had all this stuff like detailed out. I'm like, God, man. What did we do in school? That's what we did in school.
That's it.
Like when did you do your homework? Study hall. First period, right before math. When did you come up with these characters, man? During lunch, during history, during physical education, biology, especially biology.
What we haven't heard from our guest host tonight, man.
Oh,
what would your favorite character be?
My favorite character is my very first character, which was Strings. He was a rocker boy in Cyberpunk. He did nothing. His favorite thing was sex, drugs, and rock and roll. He was a bit of a nobody really. He just was kind of along for the ride, and I provided comic relief. And
Hey,
for
you need the
example,
comic relief guy.
Absolutely.
For example, one of our hard-nosed guys, Matt Brooks, if you catch this later, man, I love you, man. His character was Phantom. He was the hardcore killer guy, and it's like, hey Phantom, what are we gonna do tonight, man? And he's like, take a wild guess. Take over another corporation, dude. And he's like, wow, you must have ESP. Yeah, extra sexual positions. And then walk away.
Oh,
And he'd be like, he'd do the whole face palm, and it was, it was great. I often was the one that provided the diversion. Hey, let me break out my guitar and do a jam session and be a disruption while the rest of the team goes and kicks ass and does everything I should have been doing as one of my first runs. But hey, it was the first run. That was my introduction to role playing, and I fell in love with my character. He was just so awesome.
Hey, everybody needs the comic relief. The comic relief is used.
Definitely.
The comic relief is used everywhere, except for in Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom of the Menace, because that was supposed to be Jar Jar, and everybody knows how much everybody doesn't like Jar Jar.
Oh,
but
God!
Still.
Yeah, let me not get off on a tangent. All right.
Yeah. Coming next week, Mr. B will.
No kidding, man.
Mr. B will have his 1 minute rant.
No kidding.
We're gonna put that in the show.
Yeah. Give me time to prepare it. I will do a 1 minute rant on him. But
I got you. I definitely got you. Next week, yeah, we'll definitely work that in, especially with what's coming out next week. Oh yeah, we could definitely plug this in.
Oh yeah,
we can definitely do that.
Be the Gamers Geek Radio version of what grinds my gears.
But we also have, man, totally lost my train of thought with that one. I really did. All right, so man, what's the? I really just had a brain meld right there.
It's fine, man. Happens to the best of us.
I was talking about the sideline characters of, funny, the plucky comic relief, and I really didn't want to go back into that whole Marvel DC thing. I'll do that some other time. Because I mean, the Flash is the comic relief for DC, and Marvel has Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man will always be my comic relief because he's the only one that banters so well with the villains. He doesn't care.
Absolutely.
Peter Parker sits up there with like the I don't care. I'm going to win, and I know I'm going to win and just beat you. So I'm going to mock you during every single Come on, Lizard. I pull it off your tail. Come on now, Doc Ock. You have 4 arms. You still couldn't beat me. Like, Flash, he just insults you at a very fast pace, and you're just like too slow to get it. It's like, what? Wait a minute. But what would be the hardest tabletop to get into?
The one that I brought up earlier, Exalted, where you stunt everything. It's very anime-ish. Yeah. I would probably say that's definitely not for a beginner. Just because, all right, I'm trying to stay in the light, and I've been moving around and finding dark spots, so hat's just not working anymore. So it's definitely not a beginner's game. It's definitely something that needs to have had experience in gaming and needs to always be thinking on their feet. And Shadowrun was the game that I blanked on, that's cyberpunky with magic. So I wanted to kind of share that I did remember that finally.
Didn't they come out with a PC?
Yes, they even did. They did a console game back in the day.
Yeah.
I think it's got into the PS1, maybe PS2. But yeah, Shadowrun was the one that I was thinking of. I think original D&D can be hard. D&D and AD&D.
Original D&D.
Yeah, I mean, you've got things that that are never used, but you need to have them just in case you need that particular stat. THAC0, and don't ask, I don't know. But there are some that are military based. Oh God, I can't even. I know I'm not going to remember. I think I played one of them once, but very tactical.
Warhammer?
Warhammer is very similar on being tactical, and you're right. It's the reason why I never ventured down that road is because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
But Warhammer is can be difficult, from what I understand. However, such a fun game. I think I've learned a lot of my tactics just from role playing. And I would say probably as a beginner, start off with Pathfinder, which is basically, like I said, the best version in my opinion of D&D. D&D actually has a new 5th edition out, which I think is a lot. They've trimmed down a lot of the negatives, the hardness that it got with the 4th edition, and they've revamped. D20 Star Wars is easy. The new version of Star Wars, which is by Fantasy Flight, is rather difficult, especially on. They've got the standard side dice, but they're all symbol based, and once you get an experienced group that can play, can figure all that out, and figuring it out is not all that hard, but it's just I can figure it out, but I need to do it in practice, and I haven't had a group with that particular game book yet.
Right.
But it's that one you start off with a ship, which is great because because all of them, it's like, okay, somebody's got to be a smuggler because we need to get off this rock.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things. It's like, no, I'm going to give my party a ship. So I mean, they've got to be able to get out of here. So, anyways, you know what? Hat's going back on. There we go.
What is it? Go ahead. Finish it.
So there are thousands of games. Like I said, there's probably, if you can think of the genre, you've got it. Superheroes, in fact, I was trying. I think it was you, Travis, that was trying to help me get on the last Friday's show. You and Mary, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to join you guys. But there's a very awesome game. It's Mutants and Masterminds. Man, you can make any superhero you want. You can have the Superman type, you can have the Hulk type, you can have the Silver Surfer, Transformers.
Oh my gosh, I see too many people trying to be OP right now. I see the disaster looming. So I'm gonna call it now. I'm gonna be like a mixture of Deadpool and Iron Man, because I see too many people going OP with that. Just, oh my god, you can be like cosmic. You can be a cosmic Superman.
Okay. The gears are turned in my head now. When you say a mixture of Deadpool and Iron Man, what parts are you taking from each?
All right. Deadpool, I have to take the combat. Deadpool's combat style cannot be touched.
Mm-hmm.
Taskmaster can't copy it. Deadpool has got combat. I think, honestly, Deadpool would whoop Batman's butt.
So basically, what we're talking about here is a ninja Iron Man.
Basically.
That would be freaking amazing. Oh my God! Take my money now. Make that a movie. Take my money now. That would be awesome.
Hand to hand, Deadpool's got it, hands down.
Deadpool is probably one of my favorite. And when you mentioned comic relief, I almost said no. You know, the one that has my comic relief is Deadpool.
Well, I didn't want to say Deadpool is my comic relief because Deadpool is my psychopath release. That's what Deadpool is to me. He's not my comic relief.
Okay.
He's my psychopath release. Like, Deadpool fulfills every single last psycho killer fan. Like, if you played the game, you played Deadpool the game.
Yeah.
Every single last psycho killer's fantasy is right there in that game. Everything is in
True.
that game, and I'm just like, yep. And when I was playing it, my comic relief didn't get fulfilled. It was my murderous instincts of randomly killing people that got filled. I was like, yes, this is awesome.
For me, it was both.
I need it.
Because I mean, I'm sitting here just playing Deadpool, and every time he just says something, I'm giggling like a schoolgirl. It's like, I don't believe he said that. Yeah.
Oh man. But speaking of Deadpool, all right. All right. Speaking of Deadpool, quick, because this is Gamer Geeks Radio, so I'm gonna hit you with some quick little facts that's going on in the world. But pretty much people already know this, but I couldn't tell you on Wednesday because y'all think it's an April Fool's joke, and then nobody would believe me. Ryan Reynolds confirmed as Deadpool. 1. 2. This is not the Ryan Reynolds from Deadpool from Wolverine. 2nd. 3rd. Deadpool is rated R.
Needs to be.
Yeah, it does.
No. It's confirmed. It's rated R. It's done. They're doing it. It's being filmed as we speak. As Ryan Reynolds is in Vancouver filming for Deadpool right now. It should be released in February of next year. It's happening. It's going to be rated R. It's going to have all the chimichanga and unaliving goodness that nobody else could expect from a movie. Honestly, I'm excited. I'm thrilled about it. There's Domino is supposedly going to be in it. That's rumor, but everything else before that was real. Everything else before that is true. Even the trailer, I don't even need a trailer for this movie. I just need the little teaser that was on Gamer Geeks Radio. I posted it on Gamer Geeks Radio show. Yeah, on the Facebook page. I posted it up there. I just needed that. That was awesome. I just needed that, and it's him and Slater.
And when y'all saw that teaser, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make this movie, and we're going to make Fox say yes because of fan turnout. What was y'all's reaction to that 30, 45 second video? Because mine was like, oh my god.
Travis, go. I'll let you take first correct.
Mine was somebody got fired. As soon as I saw it, I was like, somebody got fired. Like, Fox said no. Somebody got fired. Like, somebody kicked in the door to Fox and was like, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired. Hey, the guy that got me donuts that day, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired. Hey, who got me that latte yesterday? You're fired. When that trailer got leaked online, and Fox tried so hard to pull it, people got fired. People got fired. It was like, you're fired for incompetence. You're fired because I'm just having a bad day because we can't get this video down quick enough. People have already seen it. They already know we messed up. And they're going to the internet. That's like the voice of the people. And they're just, oh my gosh. My first thought was, y'all got fired. It wasn't even how good it was. Because I was like, anything with Deadpool, and y'all tested this footage out, but y'all didn't make it, lets me further know that y'all wasn't willing to push that envelope. Y'all wasn't willing to throw out your ace card and be like, hey, we're going to try to make some money off of this. Now you try to do it because because the fans asked you to. The Marvel community asked you to. I'm going to put it like that. I'm going to say the Marvel community asked you to. And then y'all, people just got fired. It was like, you're 2 weeks. That was your 2 weeks. Right there. You got fired that day. If you was anywhere in the building of Fox when that trailer got leaked, you got fired. You'd be happy if you was that dude that was like, man, I'm stuck in this traffic. Ooh, let's look at your phone. Man, I ain't going to work today.
Yeah, they did do a really bang-up job, though, of getting it pulled off of YouTube, at least YouTube. Like, so many people had already downloaded it and saved it to their hard drives. Like, it's never fully going away. But I remember just as quick as somebody would post a video up on it, like literally, it seemed like just 5 minutes later, this video has been taken down because it's, you know, it broke this such and such and such. But yeah. I hope nobody lost their jobs, but you know somebody did.
I mean,
yeah.
I just, you know, I joke about it, but at the same time, I'm just like, nah, there's no way. Y'all had this footage and y'all hid it. And y'all was like, nah, we're not going to do it. And then all this uproar happens. Man, no, somebody got fired.
Yeah.
You can't go to your boss and be like, so, John, hey, so what happened here? We're not making this movie? It got leaked. Well, we didn't think it was appropriate. What? Wait, what? You didn't think what? You're fired. Just get out of my office. Go. Tell the latte dude he's fired too.
Tell latte guy he's done for.
But I work for Starbucks. Not anymore. You don't.
Like, I can't imagine that conversation in that boardroom. Like, hey, sorry guys, we dropped the ball. Try to get him next time.
All right, walk into the boardroom is like, okay, I've got 2 words for you. Dead. Cool. We've got to do it. Damn it. And I've also got a shout out. How I Met Mary. Lady Rage was from it is in the IGA from Facebook page. We're both moderators, so I'm so happy that I got to meet her, got to meet you guys, got to be doing the show. This is awesome.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
Yeah, man.
We love it too, man. Just getting together and talking everything nerd. I love it.
I love it.
Yeah, man. This is a culture, man. It's like I was just talking to my friends earlier today. It's a good day to be a nerd.
It is,
like
man.
Marvel.
It is.
Like animated and DC News animated. There's an animated Batman and Robin. My friend told me it's not that good. I have to kind of take his word for it because he's big on the whole Court of Owls thing. But I don't know. It comes out next Tuesday, so you guys got to check it out for yourself. I'll be checking it out earlier this week because I have it like that. Do not condone anything illegal or anything of that nature doing on this show or during this broadcast, by the way. So, with that being said, also, Marvel Age of Ultron comes out in May. I only have a
May
month.
1.
I have 1 month. That's it. After it's done. What? Are you serious? I get to see Ultron. I get to see him in all his puppet master brilliance.
I've got high hopes for it. I hope it don't let me down. Josh,
I'm pretty sure all Marvel movies. Yeah, the only one that's let me down was Mandarin's role in Iron Man 3.
We just talked about that, man. You don't do that. You don't do that to the Mandarin. Like you don't cast Sir Ben Kingsley and then not let him be the true villain. No,
Mr.
no,
Mr.
you don't do it.
Mr. B. Mr. B.
What? Yeah, that'll be another week. That'll be another week.
All right, but with that being said, this has been Guys Night. I've been your host, Travis. Hit the like and the subscribe button down below. Love you guys from the Gamer Geeks Radio Show. Anybody else want to say something?
Man. It's all peace and love, and I'll see you guys next time.
Well, I hope I am able to come back. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Every group out there, Jeremy, Ryan, Michelle, Matt, George, Fry, that's Will, Steve, man, you guys made me the geek that I am today. It's your fault. Actually, not really, because Star Wars really kind of did it for me anyway, but, I'm still blaming y'all. Thank you guys so much for this. This was an amazing time.
All right, man. No problem. We enjoyed it just as much as you did, if not more.
Yeah, man, we did. Got to learn some more about tabletops. You guys learned a little bit more about LARPing. You got the Marvel information that y'all been dying to hear. I've been dying to hear.
I'll put it like this, man. I'll put it like this. You've got my interest peaked to the point where when this is, I have to do more geeky things. I have to get ready and run a raid. But as soon as I'm done with that, man, I am completely Googling to see if there's any groups by me that do tabletop games. Because we have, I'm keeping the show running on. I'll be quick. I know we have a comic shop in town. And I've been in there before, and I've seen the guys in there playing, but I've never inquired as to what they were playing or what they were doing. But yeah, that'll probably be my first avenue to go talk to them guys on Saturday, usually when I see them in there, and figure out what's up.
Like I said, Skype, RollD20.net. And mythweavers.com are 3 great sites to just be on your couch and just role play without your friends being there. So if me, my buddy Will, and a couple other guys all around the U.S., if you want to get a game, we can get a game.
That'll work, man.
Yep.
That's the way to do it.
That'll work. All right.
All right, guys.
Peace, love, and prosper.
Definitely. We'll see you guys next time. Had a blast, and take us out, Travis.
This is Guys Night. Love you. Peace, love, and prosper. Hit that like and subscribe button down below.
May the Force be with you.